Alaska is so large it could fit Texas, California, and Montana combined and still have room left over. It's the only U.S. state that is simultaneously the northernmost, westernmost, and easternmost in the entire country. And here's the part that sounds completely fake but isn't. If Alaska were split in half, Texas wouldn't even be the second largest state anymore. It would drop to third place. Alaska's geography doesn't just stretch logic, it completely breaks it. Today, you're about to discover 35 wild facts about Alaska that prove it's not just America's biggest state, but one of the most geographically extreme places on Earth. From cities larger than entire states to glaciers the size of countries, Alaska operates on a scale that feels almost unreal. Everything about Alaska begins with its size. The state covers 663,268 square miles, which accounts for roughly 20% of the total land area of the United States. To truly grasp how massive that is, you could combine Texas at 268,596 square miles, California at 163,696, and Montana at 147,040, and Alaska would still be larger. Despite this enormous footprint, Alaska is home to just over 730,000 people. That means the population density is around 1.3 people per square mile, making it by far the most sparsely populated state in the country. That emptiness helps explain one of the greatest land bargains in history. In 1867, the United States purchased Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. At the time, critics mocked the deal, calling it Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox. Adjusted for inflation, that price would be about $150 million in 2026 dollars. That works out to roughly 2 cents per acre. Today, Alaska contains trillions of dollars in natural resources, including oil, natural gas, minerals, fisheries, and timber, making it one of the most lopsided land deals ever made. Alaska also creates one of the strangest geographic paradoxes on the planet. It is the northernmost U.S. state thanks to Point Barrow, also known as Utqiagvik, which sits at 71.18 degrees north latitude. It is also the westernmost state due to Amatignac Island in the Aleutian Chain. But here's where things get truly strange. Alaska is also the easternmost state. The Aleutian Islands extend so far west that they cross the 181st meridian, placing part of Alaska in the eastern hemisphere. Semisopochnoi Island technically lies east of the international dateline, meaning Alaska is the only U.S. state that exists in two hemispheres at once. Alaska's coastline is another geographic absurdity. Measuring approximately 6,640 miles, it is longer than the coastlines of all the other U.S. states combined. That figure depends on how the coastline is measured, but even conservative estimates confirm Alaska's dominance. The state borders both the Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean, and its coastline is carved with fjords, bays, and inlets that make navigation incredibly complex. Alaska is also home to about 2,670 named islands, many of them remote, uninhabited, and rarely visited. At the very top of the state lies Utqiagvik, the northernmost city in the United States. Located at 71.18 degrees north, it experiences some of the most extreme light cycles on Earth. Each year, the sun does not rise at all for about 65 days between mid-November and late January. In contrast, the sun does not set for roughly 82 days between May and August, creating a continuous stretch of daylight known as the midnight sun. Alaska's cities are geographically massive in ways that defy expectations. Sitka, for example, spans approximately 2,870 square miles, making it larger than the entire state of Delaware. Juneau covers about 2,704 square miles. Wrangell spans 2,542 square miles, and Anchorage covers roughly 1,704 square miles. These cities are so large because Alaska uses borough-based boundaries that include vast stretches of wilderness. In fact, many of Alaska's cities are larger than Rhode Island. Despite their size, much of this land is undeveloped wilderness. The state's transportation network reflects its isolation. Alaska has only about 16 cities connected by road. Many communities are accessible only by plane or boat, making aviation a daily necessity rather than a luxury. Bush planes serve as school buses, ambulances, and delivery vehicles in remote areas. Roads simply cannot be built across large portions of the state due to mountains, glaciers, rivers, and permafrost. One of Alaska's most astonishing features is Wrangell St. Elias National Park. Covering 8.3 million acres, it is the largest national park in the United States and larger than the entire country of Switzerland. The park contains 9 of the 16 tallest peaks in the United States and includes massive glaciers, active volcanoes, and vast, untouched wilderness. Despite its size and beauty, it receives only about 50,000 visitors annually, compared to Yellowstone's more than 4 million visitors each year. Among the park's features is the Malaspina Glacier, one of the largest Piedmont glaciers in the world. It is so large that it rivals the size of Rhode Island. Alaska as a whole contains over 100,000 glaciers, more than anywhere else on Earth outside the polar ice caps. These glaciers actively shape the landscape, carving valleys and feeding massive river systems. Permafrost covers approximately 80% of Alaska's land area. In some regions, it extends hundreds or even thousands of feet underground. This frozen ground poses enormous challenges for infrastructure. Roads buckle, buildings shift, and pipelines must be engineered to remain stable despite ground movement. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline is a prime example. Stretching about 800 miles from Prudhoe Bay to Valdez, and elevated in many areas to prevent melting the permafrost beneath it. Wildlife density in Alaska is just as extreme as its geography. There are more caribou than people in the state, with herds numbering in the hundreds of thousands. Alaska is also home to the Kodiak bear, the largest bear species in the world, which can weigh over 1,500 pounds. These animals dominate ecosystems that remain largely untouched by human development. Alaska is also one of the most geologically active regions on Earth. The state contains more than 130 volcanoes and volcanic fields, many of them active. The Aleutian Islands sit along the Pacific Ring of Fire, making volcanic eruptions and earthquakes relatively common. In 1964, Alaska experienced the Great Alaska Earthquake, which measured 9.2 in magnitude. It remains the second strongest earthquake ever recorded in human history and permanently altered the state's coastline. Despite its remoteness, Alaska plays a critical role in global climate systems. Its glaciers, sea ice, and permafrost act as indicators of climate change. As temperatures rise, melting ice contributes to sea level rise and changes in ocean currents. Alaska's rivers are another massive and often overlooked feature. The Yukon River alone stretches over 1,980 miles, making it one of the longest rivers in North America. For many remote villages, rivers function as highways. In summer, boats travel these waterways, and in winter, frozen rivers become ice roads used by snowmobiles and trucks. The seasonal transformation of rivers essentially creates 2 entirely different transportation systems depending on the time of year. The state's climate zones are far more diverse than most people realize. Alaska isn't just cold. It contains multiple climate regions, including maritime rainforests in the southeast, Arctic tundra in the north, interior subarctic zones, and coastal regions influenced by ocean currents. Southeast Alaska receives more annual rainfall than Seattle, earning it the nickname the Alaska Panhandle Rainforest. Meanwhile, parts of interior Alaska can experience temperature swings of over 100 degrees between summer and winter. Alaska's forests also defy expectations. The Tongass National Forest in southeast Alaska is the largest national forest in the United States, covering nearly 17 million acres. It is a temperate rainforest filled with massive old-growth trees, glaciers, and fjords. Some trees here are over 800 years old. The Tongass alone stores more carbon than any other national forest in the country, making it a crucial environmental resource on a global scale. Beneath Alaska's surface lies another geographic surprise: vast mineral wealth. The state contains significant deposits of gold, copper, zinc, and rare earth elements. Gold rushes in the late 1800s reshaped Alaska's population patterns, creating boomtowns overnight and abandoning them just as quickly when resources ran out. Many of today's ghost towns exist because geography made extraction profitable briefly, then impossible. The ocean surrounding Alaska is just as extreme as the land. Alaska's waters are among the richest fishing grounds in the world, producing more than half of all seafood harvested in the United States. Cold, nutrient-rich currents support massive populations of fish, crab, and marine mammals. The Bering Sea, however, is also one of the most dangerous bodies of water on Earth, with violent storms, icy waves, and rapidly changing conditions that have claimed countless lives. Alaska's glaciers are not just numerous, they are active. Many glaciers advance and retreat dramatically over short periods. Some glaciers surge forward several miles in just a few months, bulldozing forests and reshaping landscapes. Glacier Bay itself was once completely filled with ice less than 300 years ago. Today, it is open water, offering one of the clearest examples of how quickly geography can change. Earthquakes continue to shape Alaska's terrain in real time. The state experiences thousands of earthquakes every year, most too small to notice. Mountain ranges are still rising as tectonic plates collide. Coastlines are lifting in some areas and sinking in others. Alaska is not a finished landscape. It is still under construction by natural forces. Even Alaska's borders are strange. The southeastern panhandle is separated from the rest of the state by Canada, meaning travel between parts of Alaska often requires leaving the country. This fragmented geography has shaped culture, trade, and politics in unique ways. Some Alaskan communities are closer to foreign cities than to their own state capital. The scale of Alaska also distorts human perception. Distances that seem short on a map can take days to traverse. A flight between two Alaskan cities might cover hundreds of miles, yet pass over nothing but wilderness the entire way. In many areas, you can travel for hours without seeing a single road, building, or sign of human presence. Another layer of Alaska's geographic strangeness is how wildlife dominates space in a way rarely seen elsewhere. In many regions, animals outnumber humans by staggering margins, and their migration routes shape the land just as much as roads do in other states. Moose wander through towns, bears cross highways, and caribou herds migrate hundreds of miles across tundra that appears untouched by civilization. These migration paths have existed for thousands of years, long before modern borders, and Alaska's vast, open geography allows them to continue almost uninterrupted. Seasonal change in Alaska is not gradual. It's abrupt and dramatic. Rivers can freeze solid enough to support heavy trucks in winter, then break apart violently in spring, causing ice jams and floods that reshape entire riverbanks overnight. Spring breakup is so powerful that it can lift houses off their foundations. This constant cycle of freeze, break, and reform means Alaska's landscape is never truly stable, even in places that look unchanged for decades. Even sound behaves differently across Alaska's geography. In cold, still air, sound travels farther, making distant noises feel strangely close. On the tundra or frozen lakes, footsteps, voices, or machinery can echo across miles of open land. Silence itself becomes a defining geographic feature, especially in winter, when snow absorbs sound and creates an almost unnatural quiet that many visitors find unsettling. Alaska's remoteness also means that nature often sets the rules without human intervention. Wildfires, for example, are allowed to burn naturally in many regions because the land is so vast and unpopulated. These fires play a critical role in renewing forests and ecosystems. Some fires burn for months, even surviving winter beneath the snow before flaring up again in spring. Few places on Earth allow natural processes to operate on such a massive, uninterrupted scale. What makes Alaska truly unique is not just its size, but its contradictions. It is both isolated and globally important, frozen and volcanic, sparsely populated yet ecologically rich. It exists across hemispheres, time zones, and extremes of light and darkness. No other U.S. state even comes close to matching its geographic complexity. Alaska doesn't just break records. It rewrites the rules of what a place can be. Its mountains rise higher, its cities spread wider, its wilderness stretches farther, and its natural forces operate on a scale that feels almost alien. And that's what makes Alaska not just America's largest state, but one of the most extraordinary geographic regions on the entire planet.